There are going to be forces that argue for cynicism, for looking the other way with somebody else's problems. That are not going to champion people who are vulnerable because sometimes that's politically convenient. And if we don't have a strong transatlantic alliance that's standing up for those things, we will be giving to our children a worse world. We will go backwards instead of forwards. So whoever the U. S. president is, whoever the Chancellor of Germany is, we need to remember that. And our citizenry who decide who our presidents and chancellors are need to remember that. Chancellor Merkel, as interpreted. It is, after all, a very good thing if, after 8 years of cooperation, the President of the United States says that this is a cooperation based on friendship, that we cooperated well. I feel that this is a very good, a very positive message, and, indeed, an encouragement for me. Now, secondly, I, fortunately, know very many people, and there are many. Many more that I don't know, and many politicians who stand up for the same values of democracy. Of liberal societies, of open societies, of respect for the dignity of man. And I feel that we are in a community of people here who stand up for these values, who try to maintain them. And wherever they are not yet respected, stand up for people's rights to enjoy them, as well. And this is worth every effort. But I think we're gratified to know that there are many, many people who feel committed to this goal. Thank you very much. Barack Obama. Official announcement of candidacy for the United States presidency. Delivered February 10, 2007, Springfield, Illinois. Hello Springfield. Look at all of you. Look at all of you. Goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Giving all praise and honor to God for bringing us here today. Thank you so much. I am so grateful to see all of you. You guys are still cheering back there? Let me begin by saying thanks to all you who've traveled, from far and wide, to brave the cold today. I know it's a little chilly, but I'm fired up. You know, we all made this journey for a reason. It's humbling to see a crowd like this, but in my heart I know you didn't just come here for me. You came here because you believe in what this country can be. In the face of war, you believe there can be peace. In the face of despair, you believe there can be hope. In the face of a politics that shut you out, that's told you to settle, that's divided us for too long. You believe that we can be one people, reaching for what's possible, building that more perfect union. That's the journey we're on today. But let me tell you how I came to be here. As most of you know, I'm not a native of this great state. I moved to Illinois over 2 decades ago. I was a young man then, just a year out of college. I knew no one in Chicago when I arrived, was without money or family connections. But a group of churches had offered me a job as a community organizer for the grand sum of $13,000 a year. And I accepted the job, sight unseen, motivated then by a single, simple, powerful idea, that I might play a small part in building a better America. My work took me to some of Chicago's poorest neighborhoods. I joined with pastors and lay people to deal with communities that had been ravaged by plant closings. I saw that the problems people faced weren't simply local in nature. That the decisions to close a steel mill was made by distant executives, that the lack of textbooks and computers in a school could be traced to skewed priorities of politicians 1,000 miles away, and that when a child turns to violence, I came to realize that there's a hole in that boy's heart that no government alone can fill. It was in these neighborhoods that I received the best education that I ever had. And where I learned the meaning of my Christian faith. After 3 years of this work, I went to law school. Because I wanted to understand how the law should work for those in need. I became a civil rights lawyer, and taught constitutional law, and after a time, I came to understand that our cherished rights of liberty and equality depend on the active participation of an awakened electorate. It was with these ideas in mind that I arrived in this capital city as a state senator. It was here, in Springfield, where I saw all that is America converge: farmers and teachers, businessmen and laborers, all of them with a story to tell, all of them seeking a seat at the table. All of them clamoring to be heard. I made lasting friendships here, friends that I see here in the audience today. It was here where we learned to disagree without being disagreeable. That it's possible to compromise so long as you know those principles that can never be compromised. And that so long as we're willing to listen to each other, we can assume the best in people instead of the worst. That's why we were able to reform a death penalty system that was broken. That's why we were able to give health. Insurance to children in need. That's why we made the tax system right here in Springfield more fair and just. For working families. And that's why we passed ethics reform that the cynics said could never, ever be passed. It was here, in Springfield, where North, South, East, and West come together that I was reminded of the essential decency of the American people where I came to believe that through this decency, we can build a more hopeful America. And that is why, in the shadow of the old state capitol, where Lincoln once called on a house divided to stand together, where common hopes and common dreams still live. I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America. Look, I recognize that there is a certain presumptuousness in this, a certain audacity, to this announcement. I know that I haven't spent a lot of time learning the ways of Washington. But I've been there long enough to know that the ways of Washington must change. The genius of our founders is that they designed a system of government that can be changed. And we should take heart, because we've changed this country before. In the face of tyranny, a band of patriots brought an empire to its knees. In the face of secession, we unified a nation and set the captives free. In the face of depression, we put people back to work and lifted millions out of poverty. We welcomed immigrants to our shores. We opened railroads to the west. We landed a man on the moon. And we heard a king's call to let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. We've done this before. Each and every time, a new generation has risen up and done what's needed to be done. Today we are called once more, and it is time for our generation to answer that call. For that is our unyielding faith that in the face of impossible odds, people who love their country can change it. That's what Abraham Lincoln understood. He had his doubts. He had his defeats. He had his skeptics. He had his setbacks. But through his will and his words, he moved a nation and helped free a people. It's because of the millions who rallied to his cause that we're no longer divided. North and South, slave and free. It's because men and women of every race, from every walk of life, continued to march for freedom long after Lincoln was laid to rest. That today we have the chance to face the challenges of this millennium together, as one people, as Americans. All of us know what those challenges are today: a war with no end. A dependence on oil that threatens our future, schools where too many children aren't learning. And families struggling paycheck to paycheck despite working as hard as they can. We know the challenges. We've heard them. We've talked about them for years. What stopped us from meeting these challenges is not the absence of sound policies and sensible plans. What stopped us is the failure of leadership, the smallness of our politics, the ease with which we're distracted by the petty and trivial. Our chronic avoidance of tough decisions, our preference for scoring cheap political. Points instead of rolling up our sleeves and building a working consensus to tackle the big problems of America. For the past 6 years we've been told that our mounting debts don't matter. We've been told that the anxiety Americans feel about rising healthcare costs and stagnant wages are an illusion. We've been told that climate change is a hoax. We've been told that tough talk and an ill-conceived war can replace diplomacy and strategy and foresight. And when all else fails, when Katrina happens, or the death toll in Iraq mounts, we've been told that our crises are somebody else's fault. We're distracted from our real failures, and told to blame the other party, or gay people, or immigrants. And as people have looked away in disillusionment and frustration, we know what's filled the void: the cynics. The lobbyists, the special interests who've turned our government into a game only they can afford to play. They write the checks and you get stuck with the bill. They get the access while you get to write a letter. They think they own this government, but we're here today to take it back. The time for that kind of politics is over. It is through. It's time to turn the page right here, and right now.